Drop a small iron nail into water. It sinks. Now picture a giant ship made out of thousands of tons of iron. It floats. Same metal with different outcomes. What's the hidden number that decides who sinks and who floats? Measurement is one of the most vital tools a scientist has. Without exact knowledge of length and time, we would not have been able to put satellites into orbit or land humans on the moon. Welcome back to L&M Learning, and today we are diving into the topic physical quantities and measurement, and we'll talk about volume, area, density, and speed. Now let's talk about volume. Volume is basically the amount of space an object occupies. Now let's take a simple example. Fill a glass of water and fill a bucket of water. Which one holds more? The bucket easily. The bucket has more space and therefore it can hold more water inside. And the amount a container can hold is known as capacity. Bigger volume inside, more it can hold. So to sum up, volume is really just how much room something takes up. Now let's see how we can measure the volume of a regular solid object. Imagine a tiny cube, 1 centimeter on every side. For a neat cube, there's a shortcut, side times side times side. And for a cuboid, it is length times breadth times height. Same for a brick, just multiply all its 3 sides. The SI unit of volume is cubic meters. But imagine we need to measure smaller objects where the volume is small, like a matchbox. In that case, we measure the volume in decimeter cubed, centimeter cubed, and millimeter cubed. Volume is also represented in liters. So for liquids, we use liters and millimeters. Here's the neat part. 1 milliliter is exactly 1 cubic centimeter. And 1,000 milliliters make 1 liter. That's about a full water bottle. To measure a liquid precisely, scientists pour the liquid into a measuring cylinder and can read the mark line. For bigger jobs, they use a measuring beaker. Whether it's volume for solids or volume for liquids, it's the same idea, just the tools are different. Now let's move over from volume to area. Look at the tile floor in your house. How much floor is there? That's area. Surface area is defined as the measure of the surface of an object. For a square or a rectangle, it's easy. Length into breadth. For small surfaces, like a page or a stamp, we measure in square centimeters. For huge surfaces, like a land or a city, it needs bigger units. These bigger units are called R and hectare. But what about a leaf? In this case, we are trying to measure the area of an irregular surface. It's all curves, no length and breadth at times here. Watch this trick. Now take a graph paper and trace a leaf onto it. On the graph paper, you will have a number of squares. Now count the number of squares that are inside the leaf and call that as C. And then count the number of squares where the border passes through. Let's call them as P. Now let's apply the magic formula here. C equals to half of P. In this example, we have 38 full squares and 29 border squares. That is equal to 38 plus half of 29. And half of 29 is 14.5. So 38 plus 14.5 gives us 52.5 square centimeters. And there you go. The curvy shape is measured. Here's a fun one. 2 school bags, exactly the same size. One is packed with books and the other is packed with cotton. Same space, but the books bag is way heavier. Why? Because the books pack more stuff into the same volume. Scientists have a word for this called density. Density is defined as the ratio of the mass of a body to its volume. The SI unit for density is kilogram. High density means heavy for its size, and low density means light for its size. Remember our sinking nail and the floating ship? Density is the answer. Solid iron is nearly 8 times denser than water, so solid nail drops straight down. But a ship isn't solid iron. It is huge, and it has a hollow shell, mostly full of air inside. Spread that same iron over a giant airy space and the ship's overall density drops below water's. Less denser than water, you float. That's the whole secret. Puzzle solved. Let's actually calculate one. You've got a rock. Weight, it is 45 grams. Find its volume, 15 cubic centimeters. So density is mass divided by volume. So 45 divided by 15. That's 3 grams per cubic centimeter. Done. Weight, measure its space, divide. Water, by the way, is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. So in this case, the rock is 3 times denser than water. What does it mean? It means that the rock sinks. Now let's understand the concept of speed. A car and a cycle leave home together. The car reaches school first. We say it's faster. But faster means what exactly? It covers more distance in the same time. So speed is equal to distance divided by time. We measure it in kilometers per hour on the road or meters per second in science. So whenever you say that's fast, you're really talking about distance packed into time. So let's understand this with an example. A boy walks at 4 kilometers per hour. He needs to cover 20 kilometers. How long will it take? Just rearrange. Time is equal to distance divided by speed. That's 20 divided by 4 equal to 5 hours. And it flips the other way too. Know the speed and time? Multiply them to get the distance. One little formula and you can predict the journeys before they even start. Here are some common measurement traps you will come across. First, the little numbers on the top. Square centimeters, that's 2, which is to measure a flat area. Cubic centimeters, a little 3, measures a space inside. Same word, one tiny number, totally different meaning. The key is in the formula. Area has 2 dimensions, length into breadth, and volume has 3 dimensions, length into breadth into height. And the second trap, don't confuse heavy with dense. A huge cotton pillow can weigh more than a coin, yet a coin is far denser. More stuff crammed into less space. Weight tells you how much, and density tells you how tightly packed. Measurement is everywhere. Now look around you. Filling a water bottle, that's volume. Tiling a floor, that's area. Oil floating on your dal because oil is less dense than water, density. Catching a bus on time, speed. Everyone works the same way. Measure it, turn it into a number, and then compare. That's the real superpower of a scientist. Not memorizing, but measuring the ordinary world and reading what the numbers say. Alright, time for a quick recap. Let's lock this in. 1. Volume is a space that a thing takes up. 2. For liquids, we use liters. 1 milliliter equals 1 cubic centimeter. 3. Area is the size of a surface. Length times breadth for neat shapes. And you can use a graph for curvy ones like a leaf. 4. Density is mass divided by volume. And 5. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. And that sneaky ship, it floats because it's hollow and less dense than water. If this video made measurement feel easy, hit that like and subscribe button and tap on the bell icon so that you never miss a lesson. And we'll catch you on the next one. Let's learn together, one smile at a time.